Wow, this temple truly looks like something else.
We are all in your debt. Now you see why I warned you against them. Yes, but understand, during the days of Aldwin, if not for Parthanax, Aldwin could not have been overthrown. It was he. Kinnereth has placed the voice of wisdom within you, Dragonborn. All you need do is learn to listen to it, and your path will... Yes, if not for Parthanax, Aldwin could not have been overthrown. It was he that first taught... Kinnereth has placed the voice of wisdom within you, Dragonborn. All you need do is learn to listen to it, and your path will be clear. Sky, guard you.
On anyone you think they it's really good. Remember though, being a lady's vital commitment. Your loyalty has to be with us, isn't it? I know. Raiders and help, did help me, and elders. Desperate your man, that kind of thing. He may be able to at least point you in the right direction. Yes, is it? You know the politics of it. I have never seen such a man. That's not what you need. It's happening. By the way, to learn a guy and shout to him. That's where she is. He spent his whole life working for every old bookkeeper in dragons and impossible. It's like the elders. What's happened? You think back to the smoke of the world. So, so the way you see it, until he's dead, I'm going to close today for this. That's what's happening. Come on.
In this video, I'm going to be ranking the top 20 most ridiculously broken weapons in Skyrim. This mix of melee, ranged, and magical weapons will offer something for every player.
Just you and me.
Well, let's just say there's another dagger coming up that trades in these raw stats for something far, far deadlier. Unlike most of the weapons in this list, the Madness Dagger is actually a crafted weapon. And to make it, you're first going to need to defeat Thoron, who's the main antagonist of the Saints and Seducers questline, loot the note on Amber and Magnus Orb that will be on the table nearby, and then complete the miscellaneous quest that this note starts in order to unlock Madness Smithing. But why get up close and do the dirty work yourself if you can just have someone else do it for you? Well, this is something you can accomplish with the Sanguine Rose, a Daedric staff that allows you to summon your very own Dremora BFF from the fiery depths of Oblivion. This one is particularly powerful if you can grab it early in your playthrough, as that Dremora is going to come out swinging a Daedric Greatsword and dealing some pretty serious damage. And at the same time, they've got a decent health pool, so they can act as a bit of a damage sponge to keep you safe whilst you fire from range. As the game progresses, the power of this summon diminishes, hence why it's not further up the list, but it can be an absolute game changer early on. And the nice is, you summon your Dremora and then quickly weapon. So there isn't really any downside to having it. You're basically just getting a free summon that would otherwise require a pretty high conjuration skill to use. To get your hands on the Sanguine Rose, you're going to need to first reach level 14, and then visit any inn to trigger the quest 89 to remember, which involves accepting a drinking contest from our friend Sam. At the end of this quest line, you will receive the Sanguine Rose as your reward. Making its way in at number 18 is Dawnbreaker, which only offers mid-tier base damage, but benefits from an enchantment that adds 10 points of fire damage per swing, making it a powerful option in the early game, given that you can easily unlock it as early as level 10. However, what really makes Dawnbreaker shine, quite literally, is its special effect, Viridia's Retribution. The way this effect works is that when you kill an undead enemy, there's a chance that their body will erupt in a blast of holy fire, and this blast will either instantly destroy nearby undead or cause them to run in fear, which can cause utter chaos in a Dragon crypt, and makes the weapon extremely powerful when it comes to the undead-heavy main questline. However, this fairly use case means that Dawnbreaker only occupies a fairly low ranking on this list compared to some of the ridiculously overpowered one-handers that we're going to eventually get to. But when it comes to facing the undead in particular, it's a hard one to beat. To get a hold of it, you're first going to need to loot Viridia's Beacon, which can be found in a random end-of-dungeon chests after you reach level 10, and then you're going to need to travel to the Statue of Viridia to the west of Solitude to begin a quest called The Break of Dawn. See that quest through to completion, and you'll receive Dawnbreaker as your reward. While Dawnbreaker is a beacon of light, the Mace of Molag Bal is a weapon of pure darkness. Not only does it have a crazy high base damage for a weapon that you can get at level 1, but it also drains the stamina, magicka, and even the very soul of your enemy when you defeat them. Yep, the Mace of Molag Bal is one of the very few weapons in the game with 3 different enchantments, draining 25 points of both magicka and stamina, as well as applying soul trap to the target with every swing. This makes it an absolute early to mid-game powerhouse, and easily the best melee weapon that you can pick up pretty much immediately after leaving the tutorial. Its draining effects shut down both melee and spellcasters, and its soul trap effect allows you to fill soul gems to recharge your weapons and level enchanted without even having to think about it. Its base damage can even be upgraded from what is the equivalent of an ebony mace to the equivalent of a Daedric mace, giving it relevance throughout your entire playthrough if you wish, though some of the weapons that come later in this list may make you reconsider that approach. But either way, if you want to get a hold of the Mace of Molag Bal, you simply need to head over to Markarth, speak to Tyrannus near the abandoned house, and start the Daedric quest, the House of Horrors, and then just follow the steps from there. Speaking of high base damage, there is one sword that stands head and shoulders above the rest in terms of its raw damage output, and that is Mirax's sword. For starters, Mirax's sword has the highest base damage of any one-handed sword in the game. However, this is supercharged by the fact that it's also incredibly light, meaning that it swings insanely fast and makes its overall damage output really quite something to behold. Then to top it off, the sword also has an enchantment that gives 15 points of stamina absorption per hit, allowing you to chain power attacks without running out of stamina and locking down melee opponents. However, as powerful as it is, it still doesn't crack the top 3 one-handed weapons in my opinion, and it also has the disadvantage of you having to complete the entire Dragonborn DLC main questline to obtain it, which is quite a time commitment. And the chances are that by the time you've got around to doing this, you'll probably already have a better weapon. which is why it only makes number 16 on the list, despite its crazy high base damage output. Now, inventory was kind of hard to flex, but it ended up level 15 primarily because it's not actually capable of defeating an enemy by itself. However, it is capable of making an enemy completely unable to fight back. Veterans of Skyrim may have guessed that I am talking about the Staff of Paralysis, a fairly rare item that when used will cause your enemy to be paralysed for 10 seconds, rendering them completely unable to move or attack. Which of course gives you enough time to whip out another weapon, leave their allies for a few seconds whilst they lie on the floor, very honourable I know, and then simply switch back to the Staff of Paralysis to rinse and repeat. I toyed with putting this weapon higher up the list as it does create something of a invulnerability loop in a 1v1. However, the staff can be resisted and technically it requires a second weapon to actually achieve any damage, so it can't be considered as overpowered as a standalone item. Therefore, it gets a respectable 15th place. Unlike most other weapons in this list, the Staff of Paralysis can actually be found in several locations, but you can find it most reliably in Snap-Legged Cave to the east of Iverstead. Though it can also be found as random loot in chests and can sometimes be purchased from various members of the Mages Guild. This brings us to our first ranged weapon on the list, and it's a bit of a strange one as it's not technically a weapon, it's a spell. I am of course talking about the Bound Bow, an insanely overpowered early game ranged option that offers a base damage just 1 point shy of a Daedric Bow. Unfortunately, you can't use it right from level 1 as you're going to need enough magicka to actually cast the spell. However, if you unlock the Adept Conjuration perk, and then also spend your early level up attribute points on magicka instead of health or stamina, then you can easily achieve this way before level 10. And once you do so, you'll have just given yourself access to Skyrim's most absurdly strong early to mid-game ranged weapon, and your enemies are just going to melt. On top of this, if you manage to level your Conjuration skill up to level 20, then you can unlock the Mystic Binding perk, and once you do so, your Bound Bow is going to be putting out even more damage, making it a viable weapon choice for your entire playthrough. There are some downsides, of course, primarily the fact that due to it being temporary, you cannot chance, and if you're using it in stealth, then the cast is quite loud and will potentially reveal you to enemies, though I'll add that it can have a reason to like to it. If you want to get hold of the Bound Bow early on, then you simply need to head to Fort Amol to the northeast of Iverstead, enter the prison, and then loot the Bound Bow spell from this bucket. Simple as that. Speaking of enchanted bows, next up on our list is Zephyr, a unique 4th-tier bow from the Dawn Guard DLC. This bow only has a base damage of 12, which seems quite underwhelming, especially compared to the Bound Bow we just covered. However, the weapon's true power is derived from its unique effect that gives it a 30% faster draw speed. It's like having the quick shot archery perk baked into the weapon, but with the option to stack the actual perk on top, which turns it into Skyrim's answer to the modern machine gun. This high rate of fire gives Zephyr some pretty insane DPS, especially early on, and due to its status as a Norman bow, it can be upgraded by spending to improve its output. It won't hit as hard from stealth as bows with a higher base damage, but when it comes to archery builds that are more focused on open combat, it's a difficult one to beat. That being said, it can definitely be beaten, and you'll see why when we get a little further down the list. But either way, it's an early game powerhouse due to the fact that it can be picked up as early as level 1 during the Lost of the Ages quest, and you can kick that quest off by travelling to the southeast of Parthanax, and I can't pronounce the name, so you're just going to have to look at the map I'm showing you right now. During this quest, your ghostly companion will draw your attention to their old bow, and you can simply pick it up and start using it as your own. Now, if Zephyr is all about precision and control, then the Wabberjack is the exact opposite, and that's what makes it probably the most hilariously fun weapon you can find in Skyrim. But it's also pretty heavy as well. This Daedric staff, gifted by the man god Sheagora, turns combat into absolute deadly. Fire at an enemy and you just don't know what's going to happen. You might blast them with 60 points of elemental damage, drain half their emotional stamina, turn them invisible, or by accident. Then, on the more entertaining and actually massively overpowered end, you might turn them into a chicken, a block of cheese, or even a salt roll, killing them instantly and offering you a tasty snack. And that's what makes this staff so insanely powerful. It has a relatively high chance to just instantly kill almost any enemy, or at least severely weaken them through a number of different means. Which means you can simply spam the staff at an enemy until you get one of its more powerful effects, which means that you're going to win the majority of fights with ease. There are some exceptions. For example, you won't be turning Mirak into a sweet roll anytime soon. But for the vast majority of enemies, you just fire and fire again until chaos wins. It's not consistent, it's not strategic, but it's undeniably powerful, and it offers a very unique and fun approach to combat. And what's more, you can get it from level 1, which opens up all kinds of opportunities. To do so, you're going to need to travel to Solitude and find a guy called Deveni, a madman who wanders around in the Barnes College. Then you just need to speak to him to start the quest, The Mind of Madness, and follow the steps from there. In 11th place we have Oriel's Bow, which is in my opinion Skyrim's third best ranged weapon, combining speed, damage, and undead slaying might into one elegant package. It has a base damage of 13, so one more than Zephyr, and despite Zephyr's description making it sound as if it might be faster, it's not. Oriel's Bow has the same machine gun rate of fire. However, it is a much more powerful bow due to the fact that it also boasts a unique enchantment that adds 20 points of sun damage per shot, and that's tripled against undead, which means it absolutely shreds them. The combination of these factors make it by far the superior ranged choice. Then, on top of this high DPS and undead crushing potential, Oriel's Bow also has access to special ammunition. And you can fire this ammunition at the sun to either create a solar explosion that deals area of effect damage to your enemies, or you can even blot out the sun itself to remove any daytime debuffs that you might be experiencing if you've chosen to play as a vampire. You can get this monstrously overpowered bow by progressing through the Dawnguard DLC questline until the end of the Touching the Sky quest, at which point you'll be able to loot Oriel's Bow regardless of which faction you've sided with. Now, number 10 does in a way feel like a bit of a cop-out, as it's not an individual weapon, but a category of weapons, specifically player-crafted dragonbone weapons. However, it's an incredibly important inclusion due to how these weapons complement one of Skyrim's most powerful systems, enchanting. As well as offering the highest base damage of almost any weapon in any category, though there are some exceptions, such as Mirak's sword for example, dragonbone weapons present a blank canvas on which you can apply your own enchantments. Therefore, you can stack incredibly powerful effects on top of an already incredibly powerful weapon. For this reason, many have argued this makes dragonbone weapons the de facto strongest weapons in the game. However, I disagree, that there are many weapons in the game that offer a unique enchantment or effect that you simply cannot apply to any other weapon, regardless of how high your enchanting skill might be. Therefore, despite the raw power of enchanted dragonbone weapons, every remaining weapon in this list offers something unique that you just can't get elsewhere. And the first of these is our penultimate ranged weapon, the Bow of Shadows. Because sometimes the best weapon isn't the one that hits the hardest, it's the one you never see coming. And that's what makes the Bow of Shadows something of a stealth archer's dream. Upon drawing, it automatically turns you invisible for 30 seconds, which is simply ridiculous. It means you can never really be brought out of stealth, as even if your stealth is somehow broken, you immediately transition into being invisible with a base damage of 19, which is only 1 point below a dragonbone bow, and of course a dragonbone bow isn't going to make you vanish into thin air. The icing on the cake is that this weapon doesn't even use charges to and on top of all of that, it also you simply need to start the quest in the shadows by speaking to White Drone, which will either be Proventus or Brill, depending on the outcome of the Civil War. And then you simply need to follow the questline from there and receive the Bow of Shadows as your ultimate reward. Coming in at number 8 is easily one of my favourite weapons, not just in Skyrim, but the entire Elder Scrolls series, and that is Volundrung, the devastatingly powerful hammer of Marika. Volundrung is an ebony tier warhammer that boasts a base damage of 25, which is pretty tasty on its own. However, the magic when it comes to Volundrung is that unlike most hammers, it sticks to the speed race, making it deal an absurd amount of damage per second, and as a result outclass warhammer's higher base damage, while at the same time absorbing a whopping 50 stamina per hit from your opponent, and funneling it back to yourself due to its negative effect. This means you can basically spam heavy attacks all day long, while denying your enemy the ability to power attack back or to block in response. It basically turns you into a meat grinder, especially when you pair it with the Barbarian and Critical Charge perks. The only real downside is that Volundrung cannot benefit from sniffing perks due to its status as a Daedric weapon. However, it can still be upgraded with ebony ingots, so it packs even more punch. To get Volundrung, you will need to complete the first Trial quest, which can be started by visiting the Lardish Poe. Orc stronghold to the same west of Brink. Once you arrive, you simply need to help the Orc defend himself from a giant attack and follow the quest from there. However, if you're looking for something with a little more finesse, say for this just one, then look no further than the weapon coming in at second place, the legendary Children, which is, in my opinion at least, one of the coolest weapons in the game. This iconic one-handed sword comes at the same base damage as a dragon, if you require its high level, specifically at level 36 or higher, which is due to the fact that Chill Rend is one of Skyrim's scaling weapons. This incredible base damage is then further supplemented by an enchantment that applies a pretty spicy 30 points of cross damage to every strike, making Chill Rend one of the game's hardest hitting one-handed weapons. However, it's not just Chill Rend's raw power that earns it a place in the top 10. It's the fact that it also has a chance to paralyze your enemy for 2 seconds. And this isn't just a stun, it's a full of collapse, making your enemy fall to the ground while you continue to relentlessly pummel them. And since paralysis has no cooldown, it can just happen over and over again, completely trivializing encounters to the point that it feels like cheating if you get some lucky procs. Chill Rend can be found during the skill quest The Pursuit, after breaking into Mercer Frey's house in Riften, though you can also sneak your way in without the quest by climbing over the roof in the way that I'm currently showing on the screen right now, and then simply dropping down onto the balcony, entering the house, and then heading down into the basement and eventually into the sword. I explained this in a bit more detail in my top 10 melee weapons video. Now, we've looked at quite a few bows in this video, but the ultimate ranged weapon in Skyrim isn't really a bow at all. It's a crossbow, specifically enhanced warlords. Why? Well, firstly it has a base damage of 22, which already puts it ahead of every single weapon in terms of its potential for sneaking damage, hitting hard enough to take down almost any enemy in a single hit. But then, on top of that, every single shot of a crossbow also ignores 50% of the target's armor, which skyrockets its damage against heavily armored enemies, which is already starting to sound pretty overpowered. But wait, there's more. On top of these other benefits, crossbows can also use a special type of explosive ammunition that will deal a further 40 points of elemental damage, not only to the target hits, but also to enemies around them because it causes smack damage. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, it's also considered an enchanted item, so it's damage on top of crossbows at the bows to make you feel like the crossbow bolts are tipped with a small thermonuclear device. There is a bit of a trade-off because crossbows have a slower reload speed than bows and a much noisier in stealth, but honestly, once you start sending out these supercharged bolts, it's not going to matter much whether you're hidden or not, because everything is just going to start dropping. Getting this crossbow can be a bit of a journey, however. Firstly, you need to join the Dawn Guard, and you need to complete Serene Gerard's crossbow improvement quest in order to unlock the ability to buy an enhanced crossbow from her. Then you'll need to complete her Elemental Bolt side mission in order for her to sell you the ammunition. Oh, and by the way, you can also have her teach you how to craft both of these things, provided you haven't sided with vampires. Moving over to the other end of the damage spectrum, you have the Ebony Blade, a simple katana that offers only a measly 11 damage per hit, for a two-handed weapon no less. Sounds terrible, right? Well, it would be if its special effects didn't make you feel borderline invincible. To make up for its fairly pathetic base damage, the Ebony Blade also has a health draining effect that starts at 10 points per hit, but if you empower it by carrying out the grisly task of using it to murder 10 friendly NPCs, then you can bring that drain health effect up to 30 points per hit. You then pair this with the fact that the Ebony Blade also swings ridiculously fast, pretty much faster than any other two-hander in the game, and you start to see why this weapon might just be a tiny bit overpowered. Basically, you're applying so much self-healing due to the rapid swing speed of your sword that you can pretty much shrug off incoming damage entirely. So, as long as you don't stop swinging, you're borderline invincible. And in this way, it's a weapon that kind of comes with its very own playstyle. And just to top it all off, the enchantment never needs recharging, so you can remain a life-stealing whirlwind throughout an entire dungeon without ever having to think about stopping to charge the Ebony Blade back up. To acquire the blade, you'll first need to get to level 20, complete the Dragon Rising quest as part of the main quest line, and then ask the innkeeper of the Bannered Mare in Whiterun for rumours until you get a look about the Jarl's Alder's child, straight. Then you just need to follow the quest from there. Speaking of fast weapons, tracking the number 4 spot on our list is the long, which at first glance doesn't look like anything special, much like the Ebony Blade in that regard. It only has 21 base damage, which makes it a mid-tier Warhammer at best, and hell, even the graphics look pretty basic. However, as with so many other weapons on the list, its special sauce is found in its additional effect. This effect causes the Longhammer to swing 33.3% faster than other Warhammers, which means that despite the lower base damage, once you factor in its increased swing speed, the Longhammer actually deals out more damage per second than Dragonbone Warhammers, and even Volendrun. But that's not the end of the story, as what really tips the Longhammer over the edge and results in it ranking so high on the list is the fact that the Longhammer's additional effect does not count as an enchantment, which means that you can benefit from the Elemental Fury Dragon Shade, which further buffs the Longhammer to swing another 100% faster. As a result, you end up swinging a two-handed mace around as if it's a foam sword, and the amount of damage that it puts out is just absolutely ludicrous. And it would easily have been enough to get into the top 3 on this list if the final 3 weapons were not so ridiculously broken when it comes to beating the game on the highest difficulty settings. Oh, and as an added bonus, you can get the Longhammer very early in the game, as you simply need to loot it from the end of Liar's Retreat, a cave that can be found in the same Dragon Age, and it has no level requirements or scaling issues to consider. As we transition into the top 3, we're really getting into the leagues of truly broken weapons, and when it comes to enchanted stealth weapons, they actually are broken, as in the level of power that they possess is not an intended feature of the game. Let me explain. Skyrim weapons were brought into the game with the Dragonbone DLC, and by default are already pretty hard hitting, only falling slightly below the base damage of Daedric weapons. However, Skyrim weapons also have a unique property, and that is that the frost damage enchantments are 25% stronger when placed on a Skyrim item. This alone sounds pretty powerful, but not number 3 on the list of broken weapons powerful. Enter the Chaos Damage enchantment, which applies fire, frost, and shock damage to your weapon. And it would be rational to think, based on the Skyrim weapon description, that of these 3 damage types you would get a 25% bonus to frost, with shock and fire staying the same. Well, that's not the case, and basically the Chaos enchantment has what I can only assume is a bug interaction with Skyrim weapons, and rather than enhancing the frost damage, it also enhances the shock and fire damage as well. And then, due to the fact that you can further increase these damage times from the augmented Frost, Flame, and Shock perks in the Destruction perk tree, then you end up with something ridiculous. I think it's about 8 times damage multiplier when you apply a Chaos Damage enchantment to a Stalrim weapon. Then the cherry on top is that if you have 100 enchanting skill, then you can even apply a second enchantment that will also benefit from this multiplier in order to make your weapon even more ridiculous. The result of this interaction being that enchanted Stalrim weapons put out the most DPS of any weapon in the game by far. If you want to take advantage of this, you will of course first need to make a Stalrim weapon, and then you'll need to get your hands on the Chaos enchantment by looting and disenchanting the Champion's Cudgel, which you can get from General Falk's Carius at the end of the March of the Dead quest on Solstheim. This begs the question, what can you actually do less than DPS in the game? Well, how about a dagger that doesn't care about DPS because it can just kill any opponent in a single hit? With 2 exceptions. I am of course talking about Mehrunes Razor, a Daedric tier dagger that has a 2% chance per hit to instantly kill your enemy, which on the face of it sounds like too low of a chance for it to warrant the number 2 spot on this list. Surely that's too inconsistent to bank on in any meaningful way. Well, yes and no. If you're playing on a lower difficulty setting and you consider that it will on average proc once every 50 hits, then yeah, it's pretty inconsistent as on average an enemy will die before the Razor procs. However, when it comes to playing on the highest difficulty settings, which is really what we should be rating these weapons against, enemies have an extremely high health pool, which means you're going to get a lot of weapon swings in without doing a great deal of damage, meaning that the Razor is far more likely to go off in any single fight. This allows you to deploy the fairly unique tactic of basically making yourself as tanky as possible and then just wildly swinging the Razor at your enemy, safe in the knowledge that sooner or later it's going to kill them instantly. And it's probably going to be sooner due to the Razor's status as a dagger, meaning that it has extremely fast attack swings. So the average of 50 swings for it to go off really doesn't take that long. Therefore, you can put literally everything is defensive capability as your damage output is utterly irrelevant, and all that matters is staying alive until the dagger goes off and drops your enemy instantly. You can do this with giants, you can do it with dragon priests, you can even do it with legendary dragons. Just wrap up in heavy armor, grab a top tier shield like Spellbreaker, so you're borderline invincible anyway, and just pull the lever of the Mehrunes Razor slot machine.
Hey guys, quick video on how to transcribe the lexicon. Function the lexicon hidden button, second from the right, fourth. That will open up the lexicon, and then hold 2 seconds for it up. And that will open up the circle, that opens. And switch it down, hit it from control, every lexicon. Your root lexicon, and it does. Simplified. If you have the button a few times and you're lost, just hit the second one. That's how you start it up. That should allow you to from the right, and hit that a few times until we're done. Very much. What do you guys still have?
How are you doing, love? Rocks and valleys, crevices and hiding places. This is the kind of place...
Big Dwemer in the beyond. It's extraordinary. The ceiling, Dwemer,
This must be the place.
where you hence this extractor. It will drink the fresh blood of elves. Come when its set is complete. Ah, the box. The Dwemer were the last to touch the date in time. But he won't reveal how to open it. Maddening.
Come closer, bask in my presence. I am Hermaeus Mora. I am the guardian of the unseen, a knower of the unknown. I have been watching you, mortal. Most impressive.
Have you ever thought about what would happen if you encountered Hermes Mora on Solstein after completing his quest on
Your
mainland. Here's what he
continuing
says if you go to his
age
realm
to
without completing that
septums
quest.
renders him increasingly obsolete. He has served me well, but his time is nearing its end. Once that infernal lockbox is opened, he will have exhausted his usefulness to me. When that time comes, you shall take his place as my emissary. What say you?
I'll never join you, Demon. See what that is. Alright. Yeah, last time I had to deal with Hermes, it cost the life of one of the priests in Scotland. I really didn't appreciate that too much, so I really didn't have no other choice. I had to get the word of power to defeat Parthanax. Kind of necessary. Okay, so
Thanks for confidence from a great friend plane. Thanks for attention from our people. Thanks for extraordinary negligence.
Hello everyone and welcome to another short guide, this time on the Wintersun mod, specifically the Hermes Mora deity. We're going to be talking about how to get started worshiping this deity.
Be warned, many have thought as you do. I have broken them all. You shall not evade me forever.
Simple in ultimate keys and backsource. Yikes. That's funny. Wait a minute. None of the bodies. Get the nerd. Comes to BMX. Maybe it's the next guy. That's right, guys. Let's go save again. That's freakish looking. In this episode, please like it. If you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Welcome back, everyone. I am going to be offering a solution to Parthanax several varieties of play. I have seen some comment and it's nothing individual doing 13 maps right there, ready to go to target all the different varieties. So, that's fine. Let's see the outpost here. We're going to go and get posted. Find a big name. Our first stop is going to be Parthanax Fast, which is just south of Morthal.
I was always... Oh. Ah, the smell here. Let's try to handle this quickly.
And west of Labyrinthium. And easy to get to from Green Spring Hollow. Super easy to get to there. So, once you're here, you're going to fight a few possessed. I am our merchant. make sure you don't head on directly. Go off to the side, like up near the end. And you stand before the wormhole to receive Christ's feast. Which, never... So you're gonna hit the right here, run up the hallway, and find the lever to unlock the gate. And get over to my little block. Bring you to bring people. Make sure we're in there. And that's done a lot of hard work for us already. Fortunately. So, if you just look around. Oh, that's one.
I'm glad you're here with me.
Strike me again, I dare you!
This place makes me feel uneasy. Let's not stick around here for too long.
Stay away. I'm sorry. This isn't what I want.
itself is nothing at this point. Just unescapable by one outlet. And then it needs under the track area with a couple of nodes, and they're going to find them points. And that's 3 of the 5. So, in one location, and there.
I never knew.
We're going to head over to Sharon Cave to the east, the White Road. And you don't even have to do the...
What is it? Gotta literally run inside, and after you deal with whatever's on this land bridge, it's usually a spider, but for some reason this time it's a skeever. But past the skeever, keep your eyes open for the booby trap. Don't get slammed in the face like I'm about to do. And then take out that Palmer sitting up there in the fridge. There. Are no other Palmer to worry about in this section, so you can just run up. Collect his blood sample, and then make your way right off the ledge and kind of start going. Now next up, you're just going to come out of the cave and turn left. The icon, the castle icon in the top of the screen there is Fellglow Keep. and you can always find a high elf mage in Felglow Keep. If you're lucky with the randomness of it, you will find them out here on the exterior. There's one up on Evelyn. Back there is a high elf, but after taking care of the enemies, I discovered that luck was not on my side.
I am
Actually
forced to be
ventured
with.
into Douglas Dungeon, and because this is part of another quest, and I have not gotten that quest because I've not done so I'm not going to dungeon. I'm just going to go in, find sample ID, and that's right there. There we go. Get this guy, and boom. We have found all the samples in a matter of minutes.
Now that I'm human again, shouldn't you know not to take me out on late-night escapades? I'm tired.
What an unfortunate turn of events. For them. Grab my back. We have won the day. Let us continue onwards.
We've hardly gone anywhere. We picked up a word wall, and we're going to return to Septimus Signus. Give him the good news.
I'm
Like
okay
crowd
with
the
the
stairs,
dog,
and then
but I've spent more than my
funky
share
dance
of
for you.
time in caves already.
There he goes, grabbing the fans. Oops, sorry, I can't believe I said that. That's such a bad horrible joke. But I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. Because even
I will make the mixture.
So we're gonna unlock the box, and inside, of course, we will find the reward. Videos. You 5 levels to either selection you choose. Choose it wisely, use it wisely, but use it if you choose to. However, it is now yours. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this helps, and have a great day.
What is this? It's just a book. I can...
Come, my
It
champion.
is freezing here. I better keep my voice down. It's so quiet, everything echoes.
Who do you think brought Septimus here? Who do you think protected you on your journey to open the box and loose my knowledge on this world? Your free will is an illusion. Whether you acknowledge me or not is your own business, but I will be in your mind. Now, you have my Ogma Infinium. It contains the knowledge of the ages as revealed to Sarces, my loyal servant. For hundreds of years, it's been shut away from the world. Septimus was a useful tool for unleashing it. Now, it is in your hands. Let us work wonders together.
Hello. All right, so this is the Ogma Infinity glitch, which, gosh, way back when, I feel like 2011, it got, the bug was fixed and it did not work for a while. But as I've done with some of these others, kind of go back and look and see if some glitches, the old glitches still work. And this one is supposed to work. It does not work the way that it did before. So previously, it worked almost infinitely. Like you could do this thing and just keep picking until you got yourself to 100 and everything. But for the PlayStation 4, which is what I'm playing it on, it apparently only works up to 3 times. I've done this twice now, and I've got it to work for 2. But I'm trying something different, so you'll notice the bookshelf is empty. And I watched a couple of videos. One of the people said it works best with the bookshelf being empty. So we're going to give it a shot. So what you want to do is have a bookshelf, right? Empty it out. And to have a bookshelf, obviously, you're going to need a home. It's Breeze Home in Whiterun. So you can actually get the home and pretty early, and it doesn't cost a lot to decorate this one. The Ogma Infinium is part of Discerning the Transmundane, and this is your prize for doing that particular part of the quest. You'll see Septimus Sickness, that is part of the main quest line, and this is a side piece that comes off of that. So again, depending on how far you progress early on, In the old days, this was a super overpowered glitch, and now we'll see if it works this even up to 3. It's actually, I would say, pretty fair. All right, so anyway, empty out the bookshelf. You're going to put this on the bookshelf. What you're going to do is activate the bookshelf. Okay? Again, it's PlayStation, so it'll be L2R2. So what you're going to do right now is take it off the bookshelf. But do not close this menu. Leave this menu up. Go ahead over, go down to your books. Go down here, find your Augma Infinium. Now, you're going to hold L2 and R2 at the same time that you push X. So you're going to hold it down simultaneously. 1, 2, 3, here we go. And hold it until this comes up. Now, once this comes up, if it's done right, I'm going to pick Path of Magic. Notice the book did not disappear. I will pick Path of Magic again. Oh, and I got it. So maybe going with an empty bookshelf works best. Okay, so I've done Path of Magic twice because I have some pretty low things in Path of Magic. And I will go ahead and pick one in Path of Shadow. And lo and behold, it looks, and you're noticing all of these things going up. So each one of these skills inside of that particular path goes up by 1 in here, which again, it's a pretty cool glitch already. I mean, not glitch, but it's a pretty cool item already, especially when you are at higher levels, because obviously, you know, it is harder to get some of these when you get to the levels. But you'll notice it went through the magic section. It's now going through through this portion of it. So I'm actually getting a fair few levels based on what is up, guys? Call here.
I'm gonna show you a easy way to gain levels of experience in Skyrim. This can be seen as sort of a cheat because at the moment it is glitching as far as I know. You shouldn't be able to do this, but it works, and if you want to gain some levels and experience in different categories quickly, you can use this cheat sheet. So what you want to do is first you need to complete a quest up in
Did you get me a present?
north of Skyrim. This
Wow,
guy, Septimus Cygnus.
Oh, stop teasing me.
To while playing the main storyline, but you can also visit him
You're someone who
beforehand
can get
and
things
talk
done.
to him, and you'll
I
get
like
a Daedric quest where you have to go in some dungeons and collect some blood and so on. And once you do that, you open up a certain area where you can pick up this little book, Augma Infinium. So what this book does, it gives you the possibility to read it and gain knowledge in different areas. So you have the Path of Might, which is the warrior's path, so you will get 100, 200
Hey,
armor and so on.
We haven't relaxed at a tavern in a while. Our adventuring has been getting more tiring.
You also get the Path of
So
Shadow,
some
which
reprieve
is
would be
the
nice.
Thieves' Path, so you get some sneak, lockpick, pickpocket and so on. And finally you get the Path of Might and Magic, which is, of course, Mage's path with restoration, destruction, illusion, and so on. But do not read for now. So this is what you're going to start off with. Your home, your little place in Whiterun, and you have this little bookshelf. So what you want to start off with is activate the bookshelf and go down to your books. So here it is. Looks pretty torn up. But while you have it in your inventory, or you activated it, activate the bookshelf, and then instead of book, don't read it beforehand. So read it, and choose a path. So let's use Path of Shadow, torn up. But while you have it in your inventory, or you activated it, activate the bookshelf, and then go to the book, don't read it beforehand. So read it and choose a path. So choose Path of Shadow. And as you can see here, we gain a lot of points and we gain a level 12. And you don't have to wait for all this to pop up. But once you read it, press tab to go back. And press store. So now you put it in the bookshelf. And it does get a bit torn up, as you can see. Back side of it is holding up. Anyhow, what you want to do now is read it again. Or don't read it, but pick it up. Don't read. side of it isn't holding up. Anyhow, what you want to do now is read it again. Don't read it, but pick it up. Don't read and take. Do the same thing again. Go and activate the bookshelf, go down to books, go down to this book, read it, Q.
It would seem that violence I'm not someone to be trifled with.
Never saw anything like this back on the island. I'm so glad it happened.
Papa! I like living here. The lake is so pretty.
This video is going to be a guide for the Forbidden Legend quest in Skyrim. It's a great quest, and it's also one of the most rewarding quests in the game. We can go over the rewards now. You will get the Galder Amulet at the end of the quest, which is one of the best amulets in the game. It gives you plus 30 health, plus 30 magic, and plus 30 stamina. The Galder Amulet is absolute.
Yes? Such a wondrous place this is. The finer the item, the more likely I am to hold on to it.
Oh? What is it?
Oh, how lovely.
Do you have anything that I could use? I'll be keeping an eye on you, and I know you'll be doing the same with me.
You're someone who can get things done. I like that.
Yes?
Now that I'm human again, shouldn't you know not to take me out on late-night escapades? I'm tired. While I don't like Riften, the Rift is truly something else. Just look at these leaves. You don't typically see anything like that anywhere else in Skyrim.
It would seem that violence is our best strategic move. That was so unnecessary, and now I need to bathe.